Hey y'all, my name's Taylor. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So today's video I'm going to be talking about the books I read in November, and theoretically it should be a short video unless I get long-winded. I only read 5 books in November, which is a bummer. I have been doing a lot more recently, but I got sick for the majority of November, so that severely impacted my reading. But they were all good books, so I would much rather take quality over quantity any day. The first book I want to share with you is The Secrets Beneath by Kimberly Woodhouse. This was a recent release in September, and the tagline for it is Christian fiction about paleontology. I didn't need to know more. The cover just calls to me and I'm sold already. I didn't really know anything about it other than that, and that it's by Kimberly Woodhouse. She is one of my favorite authors. She writes phenomenal faith. I've read like 4 books by her now. She never disappoints with that. She writes really, really well. So went in kind of blind. I didn't really even know anything else other than that. And it is actually about Anna. She is a paleontologist with her father, and their neighbor, his property got washed out with a flash flood, and some dinosaur bones get uncovered. So it is part of the book is actually in the trenches uncovering bones, which is super cool. And another aspect of it is a second chance romance. So I gave this book 4.5 stars, and the 0.5 off rating is I'm not the biggest fan of second chance romance. Like, seriously, can we not communicate and just kind of lay out our feelings and be truthful instead of running away? You know, we could have avoided all those years of angst and guilt and sadness and longing and pining. We could, anyways, I digress. But yeah, so the couple, Anna and Joshua, their romance together, like once we get past the breakup that had happened back in the day, their romance, they're actually pretty sweet together. So there is that. But this book is kind of everything rolled into one pretty package, because there's romance, it's historical fiction, it's set in like the late 1850s, and it's about a topic that I'd never heard of, which is the Bone Wars, which is people were pretty cutthroat, like kind of stealing digs from each other, which I had no idea was a thing. Also, there is a part of it is Anna, she is a paleontologist herself. She sketches the bones, which is pretty cool, a neat talent to have. She catalogs them and kind of notates where the bones are and what exactly they look like. But she has to kind of fight for legitimacy in the field, because women were just kind of starting to get into the scientific community, paleontology specifically. I will say, side note, that I've heard some Christian fiction marketed books have aspects of feminism in it, and that's not the case with this book. I think it handled the struggle that was a thing for women back in that time, but it didn't kind of go overboard or shove it in your face. So I think it was handled pretty well. And then also there is a mystery aspect of it, because Anna's best friend disappeared when she was a child, and then now another child has gone missing. There is also some suspense in this book as well. It's just, what more could you ask for? It was a really good time. Highly recommend that book. It was a good time. The next book, or I guess really a set of books, because I read the whole trilogy in November, the Ravenwood Saga. This is the first book, The Mark of the Raven by Morgan L. Bussey. This is kind of like the poster child for Christian fantasy. Chrissy gave this to me as a gift, so I know she likes it. Celestia loves it. A lot of people love this book, and I am now one of them. It is about Celine. She has this ability to dream walk, so she can enter a person's dreams and kind of manipulate them. And her family has a tragic backstory. They were betrayed, so now they have become very full of revenge and kind of cold-hearted, so they've become a family of assassins, essentially. And Celine finds out this family secret once she gets her gift, and she's very disturbed by this, and eventually It's a little bit into the book, but a little bit later, she learns that there may be a different way to life. And she meets this guy who kind of shows her the way, type of thing. It's a love story as well, an adventure story, fantasy elements, of course, and it's really, really good. It is, I would say, slightly allegorical, because you can see evidence of like a good versus evil, light versus dark plot line too. So I will say there is, like, in like the first chapter, she's like praying to the dark lady, and I was kind of like, what am I reading? This is not good. But I want to reassure you that it is Christian fiction, and the light versus dark, there's some allegorical elements to it, so be reassured by that. Hopefully, maybe it might not be for everybody, but I was okay with how it went. Kind of like a almost like Star Wars, you know, there's the light side, and the dark side, light side and the dark side type of, I don't know, it's a very, very loose association. Moving on. The last book I want to talk about is The A Lady in Attendance by Rachel Fordham. This is historical fiction, Christian historical fiction, about a dental hygienist, but that profession was not called that at this time. It was a brand new profession. I think this is set in like the late 1800s as well. I forget, but they were called ladies in attendance, which is super interesting. So I was again intrigued by something. I love learning new things about history through historical fiction. So I was very interested in that, learning about that, because I didn't even realize that they were called something different. And, I'm not a dental hygienist, but I'm slightly interested in learning how that profession came to be. So I didn't really even know anything else about the book. I have read another book by Rachel Fordham, so I wanted to try her out again, because there were some things that I didn't like. It was a second chance romance again, so that's why I didn't really like it, but I really enjoyed her writing. So I thought I would try it again when I saw it come up on Hoopla as an audiobook. And unfortunately, it was a sweet story, but it just didn't grab my attention. I didn't feel compelled to pick it up, which took me forever to read. It took me 8 days to read. I just didn't find myself wanting to read it. Like, I didn't want to read. I don't know if it was a me problem. I just was in a slump, sort of. I don't know what was going on, but the book didn't help really that much. It was more kind of like everyday routines, and there's a lot of dialogue, which was probably part of the problem for me. A lot of dialogue in the very beginning, like a good third of the book maybe. And it was sweet. Like, it was interaction between I think her name's Hazel. Yeah, that's right. And the guy's name's Gilbert. And I can only remember his name because of Anne of Green Gables. But anyways, they had some cute back and forth banter, but it was almost like the majority of the book, almost. And there is some intrigue later on in the book, a little bit more action packed, I guess, but it was more of like a slow burn, slower pace story. And yeah, so it is also about Hazel. I forgot her name again. Hazel was wrongly accused of something. She was imprisoned for 5 years, so it is part of her journey to kind of clear her name, and Gilbert helps her do this. So there's that part of it too. I haven't written my Goodreads review of it yet, so I'm kind of toying around with how I should rate it, because it's not more than a 3 for me. Like I said, it's sweet. There was a super sweet scene when they were shucking corn. Well, not the whole town, but a good portion of the town was shucking corn, and there's a really cute scene in there, which I really, really appreciated. But yeah, it was a little bit boring, which I don't like using that word because I feel like so mean saying that, but I mean, that's how it felt at the time. So yeah, I don't want to rate it 2 because that feels too harsh. 2.5, I don't know. So I'm around 2.5 to 3 stars ish. Is what I would probably rate it. I'll have to figure out my thoughts and put them in a Goodreads review. Which, by the way, all the books that I have read recently, I think since July, they should all have Goodreads reviews. So if you're ever curious about my more in-depth thoughts, that is linked in the description box. And yeah, so that was my reading for November. Have y'all read any of these books? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you read any good books that you would recommend that you read in November. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.